Hello, everyone out there on YouTube. Please go to www.blackspectrumnetwork.com to purchase a private psychic reading. Please like, share, and subscribe to my video. Whether or not you like my video, please leave me a comment in my comment section. But just so you know, anytime you comment, you're supporting my business. So thank you very much. So anyway, I'm going to be doing a reading on Chris Brown. Some of my friends, Paulia and Danielle, both who have been giving me great suggestions for readings to do, said that I should do a reading on Chris Brown. So, with that being said, they both gave me questions, and I went through both of their questions, and I took 6 from each. Some of their questions actually overlap with each other, so I definitely took those, but it's like a total of like 12 questions I said I was going to ask. So yeah, I hope that you all enjoy this reading. So we're going to do a personality reading on Chris Brown real quick. Okay. The reading is speaking about Chris Brown having, him having a more innocent, pure look towards life. He sees life as though it's a roller coaster. He has a very futuristic perspective of life. He likes to have fun. Everything is about having fun. It's like he sees things as though they're a jungle gym. So you can expect, you know, he doesn't still do this, I'm hearing, but I know, not even I know, but I know Spirit is telling me that Chris Brown could go into a music studio and just, you know, like when he's feeling himself, he's gonna hang from the walls, do backflips. He's incredibly energetic. He has the energy of a child. But at the same time, Chris Brown he has a lot of people around him. People feel very protective of him, like he's a baby. Oh, you need me to. I need to protect him. I need to make sure he's good. I need to make sure he's okay. And it's because he has this. He has the energy of a child that likes to run into the street and play around. You have to keep your eye on him. They're also describing Chris Brown as someone who he's kind of like a fixer. So as a friend, he's the person that, you know, if you need to borrow $100, you're short on the rent, you call Chris Brown for it. And he gives with no expectation. He's a giver. He doesn't want those things back. He feels as though, giving should be free. He's into, philanthropy, especially from the background. But he also he gives with no expectation of receiving anything, but he also has this very deep expectation that the people that he supports are going to support him. Okay, so it's not that if you give me $100, I expect you to give me $100. If you give me $100, I expect you to pick up the phone call for me. He can be a bit of he's emotionally demanding. They're also saying that Chris Brown is deeply tapped into a feminine energy. He's very feminine, actually. From his dance style, they're showing me his dance style, the way he dresses, his moves, his rhythms, the way he speaks, the way he emotes. I wouldn't be surprised if his tarot birth cards show that he is a feminine energy. I wouldn't be surprised if he were like a child of Oshun. Besides the point. What the card is specifically speaking about is that he feels that he needs to be, he can protect other people by being kind to them. He feels that if I'm kind to other people and I'm just a good person, then it will help them. It will influence them into wanting to be a good person. Okay, and it's this feminine energy of, if you're hurt, I want to heal you. Okay, Chris Brown is very, very knowledgeable about many things, especially when it comes to entertainment, business, culture. He doesn't speak a lot about those things publicly, But I am hearing that in his free time, he likes to investigate. He likes to research. And when he comes across important information, he's much more than willing to pass it on to someone else, and for their elevation in business, for their elevation in their personal life. And he especially likes to watch. They're saying he especially likes to watch television, cartoon shows, and especially like cartoon shows that have a romantic element to them. He draws much inspiration from those. And I think that he's a teacher of love and romance, actually. He cares a lot about figuring out emotional connections and emotional relationships. And he tried, well, to the best of his ability is what Spirit is telling me. To the best of his ability, he gives very wise relationship advice. Chris Brown, again, has a very nurturing presence, this feminine energy. What Spirit is saying to me is that Chris Brown loves creating new things, okay? He likes to pioneer new projects. I also hear that he has, commitment issues. He doesn't commit to one sound. He doesn't commit to one genre. He doesn't commit to one album, actually. He puts out a project and he's ready. He's on to the next. So he's always birthing new material for his audience. But it's new material for his audience, but he likes to hear himself speak. Chris Brown listens to a lot of his own music, okay? And he is all about production. He's going to constantly, he's the goose that constantly lays the golden eggs. They're also saying that Chris Brown is very, very sexual with his body, almost to the point where he's reckless with his body. He likes unprotected sex. And Chris Brown is someone who finds himself struggling to follow the voice of follow the voice of the highest self. Sorry, this is my phone for whatever reason. But he finds it difficult to overcome the flesh. So if there is someone that's very attractive that's in front of him and he knows he should not be with this person, he's going to have sex with them. And he's going to have sex with them in a way that's very natural, primal, and will give him the best experience. Chris Brown has sex for the purpose of pleasing the other person, and that pleases him. But beyond that, they're saying that he has prostitute energy in that he often makes decisions that go completely against his character, and he doesn't have a trigger for resentment. Therefore, he doesn't always reflect in the right way about his bad decisions. Finally, they're saying that divinely Chris Brown represents as a symbol. His energy is to be a god he's a god to men and women, men with feminine energy, women with masculine energy, and he's able to attract audiences from he's able to attract audience attention from both of those demographics. With that being said, Chris Brown, he vacillates, slides back and forth between wanting to use his platform for the purpose of spiritual enlightenment and then using his platform simply for the purpose of financial gain. And usually he uses it for the purpose of financial gain. But I'm hearing that he tries to lace his visual performances, his music videos, with wisdom and esoteric knowledge that he's come to have acquired, although it's not enough for him. He has a deep thirst for educating people as a spiritualist, and I think maybe at about 10 years he could evolve and come to a place where he's able to articulate himself in this way. But he's right now he clings a lot to his fleshly desires of fame, performance for the eyes of a capitalist society, a society that wants to see him as a spectacle. And he wants to be seen as a three-dimensional human being, but this is how I hear it. The money's so good, God can wait. Okay. I'm gonna be answering a couple questions about Chris Brown and, you know, how he was raised, his relationship with Karrueche. Does he have a mood disorder? What's the beef between he and Drake? And this is a new deck, so I'm just gonna make sure that I'm shuffling the heck out of it. I've gotten really good at shuffling since I have started doing these YouTube videos and just watching myself just shuffle. But yes, make sure that you all tune in on Tuesdays and Fridays at 12 o'clock because new videos will come out. And if the videos are not out by Tuesday, by 12 o'clock, they will be uploaded later that day. Okay? Okay. That's enough shuffling. All right, so where's my list of questions? Okay. So the first question is, can you describe his childhood? Can you describe his relationship with his mom and his father? And then can you tell us what kind of father is he? So Chris Brown's how he grew up in his childhood. His relationship with his mom. Put these here. His relationship with his father. And then how is he as a father? Okay. Okay. Growing up, Chris Brown, Chris Brown received lots and lots and lots of attention from his mom. Lots of attention from his mom. That's her baby. He's a mama's boy. And she made his bed. She helped him, brush his hair. She bought him the best clothes. She, told him he would be a musician. She believed in his music. He spent a lot of time at a very young age actually acquiring depression. Maybe around like 7 or 8, he started to experience a depressive mood, and it's because of a lack of relationship with his father. I'm saying his father being kind of distant from him. His father being very much about making his own money. I'm seeing it as his mom had to balance a lot in the home. I'm seeing that the father had a lot of skeletons in his closet that he did not want Chris Brown to find out about. His mom knew about those things. Chris Brown would ask about his dad. Where was he? His mom would reveal those things that his dad kept in the closet to him. And I'm hearing that Chris Brown used to question, why was it that he was born into this particular family? Why am I given so much talent? Why is my life this way? Why can't I have this relationship with my father that I would really, really want? And Spirit is still speaking about his childhood. Spirit is saying that Spirit says that Chris Brown Chris Brown is Christian, I'm assuming, because I'm hearing that he was in the church, and his mom really, really cared about religion, praying in prayer, but it's the absence of his father that really affected him growing up, because I'm hearing that without a father figure, Chris Brown found it difficult to find his masculinity in a household where his mom had a boyfriend or boyfriends who had been abusing her. Because I'm seeing it as these guys, appear very friendly on the surface, But, you know, underneath, obviously, they had these abusive tendencies. And his mom was the sort of woman like, oh, I'm going to pray it away. You know, I'm going to pray for a better situation. I'm going to pray for your father to come into your life. And I think that Chris Brown found it difficult to model his mother and be, you know, live in this prayerful life, because he's all about action. He's a very action oriented person. Get these things done. He's incredibly productive. And I see that even at that age, Chris Brown had this curiosity surrounding, why is it my dad isn't here? And why is it that my mom chooses to be with this sort of guy? And because he loves his mom so much, he thought that she was doing the right thing. And he, what I mean by that is his mom being subservient to these men, giving up their power to these men. He came to learn that to be that's pretty normal. I saw my mom do it. I expect this to be something I want from, you know, a woman that I deal with as well. And without this father figure in his life to teach him about his role in this world as a man and what he should be looking for in terms of an equally yoked relationship, he missed out on all of that. So there's a lot of confusion that he still works through when it comes to relationships and dating. Almost as though he still plays out his 8-year-old issues where he had to sit alone in isolation, thinking to himself, hey, you know, where's, you know, why is it that my dad isn't here? What, you know, what's up with my mom? And, you know, what's up with this guy that she loves so much and he hurts her, which it must be love because she prays to keep him around. Specifically, his relationship with his mom. His relationship with his mom shows me, it started off pretty perfect, actually, very early on. But when he hit his teens, that's when they started clashing. First of all, I'm going to say this. I do know who Chris Brown is. I'm very familiar with Chris Brown and who he is in the media, but these things I don't know at all. So I can't corroborate anything from my readings, okay? I don't really read on people that I really, really know about, unless they're a reality TV star. Anyway, Chris Brown's relationship with his mom started off cool in the beginning, but as he started to get older and developing his own consciousness and allowing for his male friends in middle school to socialize him, and puberty happened, that's when things started to erupt in the home, where his mom just couldn't control him anymore. He started to have these flashes of anger. And it was like, where's he getting this from? Where's he learning this from? But here's the thing. She thought that by him not being around his father, he would be less like his father. So if his father was kind of sort of present, not really present, maybe even the father, even one of these boyfriends may have been his father, you know, his biological father, I don't know. But she thought that he would never pick up on those behaviors that she thought Chris Brown would never pick up on the behaviors of his father, but in actuality, those things are in his DNA. The hot temper, the attitude, and she deceived herself into thinking that she largely deceived herself into thinking that she could stop him from reflecting the vice attributes, the negative attributes of his father. And I think that what the Spirit is telling me is that what this drove this drove both of them apart. Chris Brown started getting girlfriends, and his mom, she just kept praying religion, praying for his life, praying for his relationship. And I think that Chris Brown definitely, I'm saying as he started to hit people, women, he had, you know, not one girlfriend, but two or three at a time. And this is in his teens. So, his mom didn't even provide him with proper instruction about, you know, balancing relationships, the difference between dating someone and then choosing to be in a committed relationship. He never got those instructions. Not saying that those instructions are necessary to receive, but the reason that he acts the way he does is because there was no father present to help him with his masculine identity. There was no guidance from his mom to teach him about the emotional logics that women work with. Why is it that a woman at that age may be comfortable with him having multiple girlfriends, but then still, her actions show that she's comfortable, but her emotions show that she's completely upset and distraught by it. And I think that his mom had a lot of wisdom to share with him from her own personal experiences, and that could have enlightened him. Now with his father, Chris Brown and his father, lots of distant communication, visits between each other, and his father was pretty dangerous. So I'm thinking that his dad, he had some abusive tendencies to himself too, carried around a gun. Kind of country man. That's what they're telling me. Kind of country man, and not afraid to pull a bullet in somebody's ass. Bust a cap type of man. And I'm hearing that early, in the beginning, his dad tried to be there in a very playful way, but I don't think his dad was very. His dad is in this way. His dad was self-centered. I think what the Spirit is telling me in my ears is that his dad had other children, and he was one of those people that if Chris Brown didn't call his dad didn't call him. And Chris Brown's father felt it was Chris Brown's responsibility to keep in contact with him, if that makes any sense to anyone. And I'm saying it as Chris Brown got older, he just said this is kind of like it's kind of like a done deal. It's kind of like case closed, the end. My mom has, great boyfriends that, in some way have imparted me with, important teachings and wisdom. And his dad his dad was kind of like, a rolling stone and a lone wolf at the same time. Finally, I'm just, his father paid child support. Let's just put it that way. Okay, his father had some sort of financial responsibility that he managed to maintain while Chris Brown was with his mom. And how is Chris Brown as a father? As a father, Chris Brown is confused. He doesn't really know what to do. He really doesn't know what to do because it's the fact that he doesn't know how to model. Chris Brown is a teacher. Okay, so Chris Brown learns from other teachers. And because he wasn't taught how to be a good father, he's lost in the woods, and he fathers based on his emotions, based on how he feels. If I'm angry right now, then I'm going to try to hold it in so that my daughter doesn't see it. If I'm sad right now, I'm going to try to hold it in so my daughter doesn't see it. And his daughter never sees an emotional man. She sees someone that's happy, or she sees someone that is sleeping. So it's pretty much between those two. I'm happy or I'm sleeping. Because he doesn't, he restrains himself from expressing the rest of his emotions because he doesn't know when it's the right opportunity for him to be vulnerable. In addition to that, they're saying he carries his daughter on his back. That's his pride and joy. That's all he cares about, okay? And that's why he tries to make so much money, because he wants to make sure that she's set. Now, please believe me, I think that she has credits in some of his projects so that she can earn royalties. He's trying to weave his daughter into his business so that she can eat, because he's not exactly sure about how to draw out of her own talents. He just knows that he doesn't want her to see his shadow side. And with that also being said, Chris Brown acts very motherly with her. He doesn't curse around her. He doesn't allow other people to curse around her. Spirit's telling me that she gets everything that she wants. She's spoiled. Spirit is saying to me that he tries to spend as much time with his daughter as he can, actually, as he possibly can. Now, with that said, does he prioritize work opportunities over seeing his daughter? Of course, he does. I mean, it's a choice between him eating and providing for his daughter, and sometimes it's like, and this is how I hear it. Sometimes it's she could miss this weekend with me. She's not gonna remember me missing this particular weekend, but she'll see me on TV. She knows what I'm doing, and I can bring her with. He loves bringing her on the road with him on his shows, but because his schedule is so hectic, and because he's such a huge target for both attention and violence, he tries to keep her away. So he's very protective of her. I hope that gave you all the information that you all were looking for if you were wondering about Chris Brown's relationship with his mom. Okay, so some of the next questions that I'm going to answer are, is Chris Brown still abusive in his relationships? What are his feelings towards women? And is he over Karrueche? Is Chris Brown abusive in relationships? What are his feelings towards women? And is he over Karrueche?
Greetings, everyone. I'm Dr. Spectrum, the mascot for Black Spectrum Network. I want to get an idea from you about future programming. Please tell us in the comments which public figures or events you want to learn about. But before you go, tell us, which of these public figures should we speak about next? Thank you for supporting Black Spectrum Network and our mission to awaken the genetic genius within our community.
Is he still abusive in relationships? He's not physical with women anymore. He just terrorizes them. He terrorizes them still. Lots and lots of text messages. It's emotional abuse. He has found other ways to control women and keep them in fear and intimidation. And I'm just being honest. That's how I hear it. Not much has changed. It's just he's not physical with them. And he tries his best not to be physical with them, even though that's a very natural reaction for him. It's like he's much more vicious with his mouth. He's much more vicious with his money. So he'll threaten to stop financing certain things for these women. In addition to that, I see it as there is a threat of violence sometimes. He threatens it. I'll kill you. But he's cut that cord. Because he's been in therapy. I'm hearing that he has been in therapy and he's cut that abuse. He's cut the physical abuse cord. But is he still an abusive person? Yes, he's still abusive. Absolutely. It's just been pushed through another channel. The childhood issues have not been worked out. Okay. And they're going to continue to reproduce themselves just through other mediums. All right? It's not going to take form as violence. But for him, it just, just sometimes slips. Bitch, I'm going to kill you. But I do see him bombarding people with text messages. I do see that. I do see him surveilling women. And I do see him threatening to take away the money that he gave to them. Chris Brown will encounter a woman, and this is how I'm hearing it. He will encounter a woman, put her in an expensive apartment, let's say $2,000-$3,000 a month, something that she cannot afford, finance the place, and as soon as she starts acting up, he threatens to stop paying for it. He threatens to stop paying for any of it. And that leaves them feeling confused, as though they need to depend on him. And that's still his form of manipulation. But he has cut the cord towards physical abuse, but is he still abusive? Absolutely. I can't remember which one of these was for one of these was for his feelings towards women. So I can't remember which one. It doesn't really matter. I'm a psychic reader. I'm the shit at what I do. All right, so in terms of his feelings towards women, he has women. His feelings towards women. He feels that, this is a quote from G.L. Lambert. He has a book called Men Don't Like Women Like You. But the quote goes, all women are created equal, but only women who think on higher levels become queens. So Chris Brown has a sexist idea in a way that, there are queens and there are hoes, and there are a few that are in between, but generally there are queens and there are hoes. But at the end of the day, he loves women. He is heterosexual to the T. He loves women. And that it's a very gentleman romance, chauvinistic Southern gentleman. I want to give you flowers. I want to shower you with chocolates. I want to bite your buttocks. That sort of thing. He loves women emotionally. He loves them sexually. He loves them psychologically. He loves them physically. He loves the visual representation of women. There's this whole narrative of just being a Prince Charming for a woman that he just dives into with women. But the other thing is that his emotions, as far as how he gets emotional with women, he doesn't know how to direct his energy in one direction. Direct his energy in one direction. Yes, it goes everywhere. So if he feels very strongly about a woman, he can jump from being sexual with you to emotional with you to angry with you and back to wanting to be sexual with you. And then, that's just it goes back and forth. I don't know what Chris Brown's sign is. Tell me in the comments. Educate me. What's Chris Brown's sign? And finally, Chris Brown is very attracted to women that work hard. He loves a businesswoman. And if a woman deals with him and she doesn't have a lot and she ends up having a lot on her own, off her own merit, he doesn't get intimidated by it. He gets more attracted to it and more possessive of her. Because this is weird. It's kind of like he's looking for a woman that he can sponsor, but also a woman that can sponsor herself. But he wants to sponsor her to such a degree that she can't live the lifestyle that she wants to live without having access to him. He wants a woman to have her own and be comfortable, but he doesn't want her to be able to achieve, a certain financial status without, him. Because he feels like he's out of power and control. That's how I hear it. Karrueche. Is he over Karrueche? I mean, what do you all think? Do you think he's over Karrueche? But no, the cards say that he's actually not over Karrueche. He has filed away all these memories of her and these times that they shared together. how he felt he was at the peak of, it was like I was at the height, I was at one of the highest points in my career, one of the highest moments in my life, when she and I were in a relationship with each other, and I was on the top of my game. I was one of the most talked about people, and he liked that power couple-esque image that they were projecting to the world. Now, whether or not you consider Karrueche and Chris Brown to be power couples, that's up for debate. But Chris Brown felt that they could have been a power couple, and he feels like Karrueche used him to get to where she is now. He feels like Karrueche took the bag and ran off with it. He feels like Karrueche, deep down inside, still wants to drink from his cup. He feels that. And someday Karrueche's going to come back around to him. It's like I'm hearing this, just give her a minute, give her a couple years, she gonna work things out and, figure it out. I'm gonna get better and we're gonna be back together, but it's at the back of his mind. It's not the forefront of his mind. It's something that he hopes for, but it's a feeling that dissipates over time. With each relationship that he moves on from Karrueche with, he loses grip of these past feelings where he feels that he needs to reminisce about her. And they're also saying that he and Karrueche actually still keep in contact with each other. It's just distant. Kind of like a, hey, just checking in on you sort of thing. Thanks. Type. They're trying to, he tries his best to be cordial with her. But is he over her? I mean, I hope that makes sense. It's like, yeah, he will get over her. He will get over her. It's going to take some time. More time, actually. Okay, so now I'm going to ask, do Chris Brown's friends use him for money, or do they enable his drug use? And then I'm going to ask, did he ever have a sexual relationship with Ciara? Because I remember years ago, Rihanna and Ciara were beefing on Twitter. I was in college at the time. I think I was like a sophomore in college, and Rihanna and Ciara were beefing on Twitter. And Rihanna told Ciara to book a stage, and Ciara never booked that stage for them to compete on. So I'm still waiting for that. Ciara, please book that stage. If you all can send Ciara this video, send it to her, and like, please book that stage. I'm ready to see you compete with Ciara. With Rihanna. All right. So, do his friends enable his behavior? And did he ever have a relationship with Ciara? I think I'm going to do a couple more cards because I see a lot with the Sirah situation. His friends enabling his bad behavior. Chris Brown enables his friends' bad behavior. Actually, Chris Brown is the queen and the king bee of his circle. Nobody enables Chris Brown's behavior. He's the center of attention at all times. And any vice activity that happens in his camp begins and ends with him. Okay, you're not bringing cocaine around if Chris Brown ain't gonna have a sniff. In addition to that, you ain't bringing cocaine in Chris Brown. Like if there is cocaine, it's Chris Brown's cocaine. Okay, if you come to Chris Brown's tour bus with cocaine, that's not your cocaine that you're bringing. That's his cocaine. Okay, because you're in his vicinity. That's his shit, and he'll let you have a little bit of his shit even if you purchased it. But yeah, that's pretty much how I see it. I mean, it's very short and sweet. It's not that his friends enable him. He enables his friends. And his friends can enable him because they'll bring the drugs around him for the purpose of being around him. But I'm not hearing that Chris Brown he gets used like that. Now, in terms of money, In terms of his money, do they use him for his money? I mean, Chris Brown invests into his friends. He wants to make sure that they're good. You know, he wants to make sure his boys are straight. He wants to make sure that they have nice clothes. You know, they got to do a little something around the house, clean up my house, and you know, wash my dishes. And you know, guess what? I'm gonna throw you, you know, $200-300. You know, go shopping, sort of thing. You know, Chris Brown, he outsources his labor for cheap through his friends, and you know, his friends, you know, bring him back drugs, you know, and those aren't his friends' drugs; those are drugs for Chris Brown. And even if his friends bought those drugs for personal use, as soon as they come around Chris Brown, it's no longer for your personal use; it's for Chris Brown's use, and you'll get what's left. Okay, with Ciara, did he have a relationship with Ciara? Not to the degree that Rihanna was thinking. It's definitely not to the degree that Rihanna was thinking. Chris Brown had been pursuing Ciara actually, but Ciara was in a relationship at the time. But they were talking to each other. Ciara had been entertaining it. Rihanna found out about it through word of mouth, and through looking through his cell phone. Okay, she found out through word of mouth and looking through his cell phone. Anyway, so Chris Brown, Rihanna made him choose: be friends with her, or lose me. Simple as that. Be friends with her or lose me. And Chris Brown, he's platonic with Ciara, but was there an attraction? Yeah. Yes, there was an attraction. Did he sleep with her? No. Ciara had been in a relationship, but was she entertaining it? Yes, because Ciara wasn't, whoever she was dating around this time, she wasn't. She was nearing the end of it, you know. Let's say it was 50 Cent, you know, for example. I don't know. I'm just saying. Spirit is not telling me it was 50 Cent around this time. Maybe it was. I don't know. But let's say it was 50 Cent. It's like the relationship is almost at its end. And Ciara was open to hearing what another guy had to offer her as far as, you know, relationships. But Chris Brown is very sexual, you know, with a lot of strong sexual powers. And... you know, Rihanna, for all intents and purposes, she was stigmatized by Chris Brown, and she felt very possessive of him, and she made him choose. It was, you know, it's like, you know, either me or her, you know, the friendship or her. And you know, Rihanna couldn't really find anything incriminating other than Ciara flirting with him, or you know, a smiley face and just being really sweet. But it wasn't enough evidence for Rihanna to feel threatened, but she wanted to nip things in the bud. Let's just put it that way. She wanted to nip things in the bud because I just hear it. I just hear it very clearly, Rihanna. And yeah, that's that on that. All right. Okay. I'm gonna ask one last question, and then I'm gonna be out. And I hope that you all enjoyed this reading. I hope I didn't talk too much. I mean, I hope I didn't ramble too much in this video. I don't like rambling. The next question that I had was, why is Chris Brown beefing with Drake? I mean, why were they beefing? What started out, it started out as disrespect. Chris Brown disrespected Drake's camp or his team. And Drake disrespected Chris Brown by trying to make an approach at someone Chris Brown was dating. And that led to the beef. It's like Chris Brown made a remark or said something that was honest about, honest about Drake. Honest in the sense that it was one of the things that Drake needed to hear, but perhaps Chris Brown was the person that needed to say it. And Drake knew that Chris Brown, he had known, Drake is from what I'm hearing, is Drake he's a calculated sort of petty. So he started trying to talk to whoever Chris Brown was dating at the time. And that started the conflict. I mean, that is where everything just blew up. I'm seeing it now. I'm seeing it where Drake and Chris Brown are going back and forth with each other verbally. Through other people. So it's like they didn't really have they had an altercation with each other face to face, which is what I'm hearing. But then when they separated from each other, it was kind of like there was an intermediary between them. Someone that was trying to squash the beef, but at the same time it's a man that was trying to squash the beef, but he was escalating it, kind of a mutual friend between the two. And it heightened the tensions between the two. Drake felt that Drake felt that Chris Brown needed to stay in his lane in terms of his financial status and his standing in the rap industry or the music industry in general. Drake feels superior towards Chris Brown, kind of like a sorority type of a snootiness, like, how dare you talk about me and Mike Kemp in that way, sort of thing. And Chris Brown felt that Drake just committed the ultimate act of disrespect, where it was like, you're attacking my family, you're attacking my manhood, my masculinity. It's time to pop bottles. There was an altercation between the two. I mean, Chris Brown was drunk. It started a huge fight to the point where Chris Brown was ready to put Drake in the grave. If Drake weren't such a high profile person, I'm not exactly sure if he would have survived even 2 weeks after that encounter with Chris Brown. Chris Brown is actually very connected to people that are very violent and have gotten away with violent things, is what I'm hearing. Chris Brown likes alcohol, and I think that night Chris Brown had an honest drunk moment, and that set up for the beef between them. There was someone in the middle of them trying to squash it, but it really just led to them having a secret desire to escalate it. And finally, the beef is still not over. I mean, that's it, period, point blank. It still plays in Chris Brown's head. He actually has plans to get back at Drake in some way. It's not going to be a diss track, but it's going to be through blocking career opportunities, working with certain artists, sleeping with certain. And here's the thing, Drake. And this, I'm hearing that Drake cares very much about his exes, and he feels his exes are off limits. So he's one of those people that if you're his friend, you can't, be in a relationship or have a sexual relationship with somebody I've been with before. Chris Brown has gone behind, I wouldn't even say going behind Drake's back, but Chris Brown has followed up on some of Drake's failed relationships and had, a sexual experience or two with him. But for the most part, I see Chris Brown feeling as though he's kind of just walking away. Chris Brown feels as though he's it's like Chris Brown still wants revenge, but he feels like, if Drake just leaves everything alone, he don't escalate nothing, we ain't got no problems. But, we're always going to have a problem. So this has not been settled between the two of them, actually. And it still replays in Chris Brown's mind. And if Chris Brown wrote a blog, or he was someone like Wendy Williams, Kaya, or T.S. Madison, he would still, be making his smart mouthed remarks about Drake. But with all that being said, that's pretty much all that I can see, and I hope it made sense to you all. Is there anything else that Spirit wants to tell me about Drake in the situation? They said, my spirit said Drake escalated things way too far that night. I think Drake escalated things way too far that night. And though Chris Brown did say something that cut Drake deeply, Drake still did not need to. Drake really, really endangered himself by stepping into Chris Brown's territory, especially his emotional territory, when he's so territorial about the women that he deals with. All right, with that being said, that's the end of the reading. Please go to www.blackspectrumnetwork.com and purchase a private psychic reading. Leave me a comment in the comment section of my video, but please be aware, even if you leave something negative, you supported me, engaged with my channel, and helped me to build a bigger business. As soon as I reach 1,000 subscribers, I will start to produce YouTube videos about the Black community. But until then, you won't get any YouTube videos about the Black community. I'm sorry. I can't monetize. My spiritual and scholarly self and give it to you all for free. But I hope you all enjoy what I provide for you as of right now. So thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on Tuesday. Bye.
I just wanna fly away. First class out of space.